Well, all eyes on Starkville as Mississippi State gears up for a crucial series finale with postseason hopes hanging in the balance. Who needs to step up and what could swing the outcome? Let's break it all down.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Well, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Jaron Sport, National College Football Writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon McBride. We have a packed show for you today. We got to talk about the baseball team as it is closing out its season with Missouri. Actually played last night for the first game of the series. They got two more games. This is going to be a big weekend, obviously, with postseason hopes, like I mentioned. Softball regionals will kick off later on tonight. What are the chances for Mississippi State in that one? They got Washington, and then moving on after that. And then obviously every Friday we end the episode with Next Up in Starkville. That's every Friday. So let's first start with baseball series. They're playing Missouri, who, earlier in the week, I couldn't remember how they did in that series against Texas A&M. I knew they won their first SEC game. Turns out they swept A&M. So A&M, A&M, you go from playing for a national title to getting swept by a team that has not won a SEC game 1 year later. So Schlossnagel's probably laughing about that one. But nonetheless, coming into this series, you obviously had an outside chance of possibly getting a bye, but the main thing was you just couldn't obviously lose the series. You can't get swept like A&M just did. Yeah, you can't get swept like A&M did. You really couldn't go 1-2. No. You needed to go 2-1 to kind of keep those. Yeah, and we've talked about it a lot this week. We feel like they're at a really good spot of being in. I feel like you go 2-1 this weekend, you're in.
Everything. If you were a bubble team, it might change anything, but since you seem to be firmly in, which I just want to go back to the A&M getting swept real quick. I saw that they are in danger of becoming the first preseason number 1 to miss the tournament.
Yeah.
All time. Why? Yeah. But, really this comes to just getting yourself right before the SEC tournament. That's what this should be. You're playing good baseball. You have a team that up until last weekend was limping through the season.
They were ready for it to be over.
They were just trying to get a win, and they somehow got 3 of them last weekend. But you have to get right. And on the mound, to me, it comes down to Evan Siary. He has to show, you obviously don't expect him to repeat what he did last week. That was a gem.
National Player of the Week or Pitcher of the Week.
That was an amazing game. You don't expect that of anyone back-to-back games ever. But he has to have another strong start. He needs to show that he is that number 2, and he's a guy you can count on going forward.
Yeah, and we obviously have talked about Pico's struggles, so it's all on Siary going forward, and he has to play really well.
Yeah, he does need to play really well, and it's not just him. It's got to be the whole pitching staff, which outside of a couple of hiccups, the bullpen has improved of late. It's not clean. No bullpen's ever going to be perfect, but they've done a lot of improvement on that bullpen for pretty much since Lemonis is gone. You've seen an improvement with the bullpen, and it's kind of been Pico he's not the weak link. He's never going to be the weak link, but he has been weaker over the last month than you hope for. Yeah. But, the bullpen and other pitchers have stepped up.
Yeah, and Pico, I think, again, and I talked about this earlier, I think his struggles were kind of he had the whole weight of the team on him for so long. Yeah, and so it's he's almost due. You don't want to make excuses, but it's he's almost due some bad games. So that's why Evan's performance last week was incredible. Yes. Obviously, again, National Pitcher of the Week. So it was really incredible. You just want to see that progress continue because we talked about it earlier this week. If you've got 2 really good pitchers, you can make a run in the regional and maybe get to that super regional. But that's the big key. Was that a fluke? And again, he just doesn't need to do that, but he just has to be good again. And so maybe instead of 15 strikeouts, get like 6 or 7, like,
Yeah.
do something like that. But the question is, was that a fluke? And so that's something that is going to be answered this weekend.
Yeah, it will be. And yeah, you can't expect him to redo that. He's not Pedro Martinez in 99 or 2000. He's
Right.
not going to do that every time he steps on a mound. And then on the other side, the offense, they've shown some improvement. Even in games that they've lost, a lot of them, they put up a lot of runs.
Right.
So do the bats stay hot going into this, which that's something I want to see, because the offense had been kind of up and down for a lot of the season. They'd have really high outputs, and then they'd get shut out, and then they'd like lose a game 11-10. And it's like, well, this is unfortunate. So can they stay hot? Can they keep consistent? Will some other guys step up?
Yeah, and even with this 3-game win streak that Missouri's on, I mean, they lost like, goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games in a row before winning 3 straight. So A&M, that's bad. but nonetheless, now, even though Missouri's been really bad this year, I did not think they were going to get shut out in terms of the SEC wins. I thought eventually they would get 1. And so that's why
they got them out of their system.
Yeah, and so that's why when they beat A&M that first game, I didn't really think to go look and see what they did, because I figured, A&M bounced back, Yeah, but no, they got swept. So, but no, this is a big weekend for Evan, and not just Evan, but the whole pitching staff. But because you're looking for the second pitcher, you think it's going to be Evan going forward. He's got to perform well. Even if he doesn't perform great and the third guy performs great, then now you go into regionals kind of like you don't know who your number 2 is, and you just hope one of them is hot, whoever you pitch.
Right. And then on the other side, you hope Ace Reese can keep his bat.
Yes. Yeah.
He's been on fire. He's been doing great. And, he's still having a solid season, but, it was when we first came back on this podcast, Noah Sullivan was the one getting all the big hits, hitting all the home runs. Right. He's still been getting those hits, but he's just not getting the big hit, or he's been overshadowed by Ace a little bit. So
yeah, Ace has been great.
Hopefully he gets going a little bit more. So you have, the offense has been going pretty good, but you get more of that 1-2 punch kind of thing in the lineup where they give each other some protection, and then the rest of the offense lifts itself as well. But the thing that always concerns me that we've seen crop up time and time again with this team is errors.
Yep. Yeah, and that can get you beat against a bad team. I mean, that can get you beat in a series against a bad team. And they've done, we've said it, they've done better with the errors. Now, this past weekend wasn't great, but overall they've done better, and you just hope that will continue through the rest of the season, because if they can do that, again, we really do believe this team can make a super regional run. It obviously depends on matchups and where they go in the regional, because they could just be playing good baseball and run into a team that's just on fire and it not matter. But yeah, I mean, the Ace is going to be huge this weekend. Got to keep the bats going. We need to kind of like, I think, was it Oklahoma that beat Missouri by like double digits every game they played? We need something like that. We need a big performance from Mississippi State. Again, you just got to get at least 2 out of 3. And I know fans will be like, Missouri's terrible. You have to sweep. I get it, but 2 out of 3 gets you in the regional.
Yeah.
Are you feeling great about it? Probably not, because you would rather get the sweep, but 2 out of 3 gets you in.
Yeah, and you've got the SEC tournament to kind of shake off whatever. Like if something does go wrong, you have that to kind of shake it off and hopefully get right. And like we mentioned, there's an outside chance of getting a bye. It's very complicated. There's like one scenario that guarantees a bye, and then like 7 others that put you in crazy tiebreakers, all the way from head-to-head tiebreakers, or I think a 5-way tiebreaker, which I don't have the mental capacity to try to sort that out. I mean, it is a possibility, but I don't think it's one of those things that if it happens, we'll talk about it then. But there's so many weird scenarios that it's not like we can take care of business and we haven't.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so the baseball team's not the only team on the diamond this weekend. The softball team is as well. We'll talk about their regional. That's coming up. Well, there's nothing like the NBA playoffs. The intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live, and this year's matchups are already delivering. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. price on the app actually dropped closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Game Time is a total game changer. I was looking at getting tickets just the other day. I'm a big Oklahoma City Thunder fan. I wanted to travel and go to one of those games in the playoffs. I was looking at Game Time, and they had some great options. Ended up not being able to make the trip, but it was awesome just how easy Game Time was. And not only that, I love that I can see my exact view before I buy with no surprises. So I know there's many times I'll go in like, hey, I don't know this stadium as well. Let me see where these seats are. Is it a good view? Is it worth it? Or you might get stuck with those, USC seats where you can't even see that other half of the 50-yard line. So now the NFL schedule, it just released, and you better believe I'm already looking at my fall calendar and picking which games to hit. My fiance and I, we were looking at, her family is big Kansas City Chiefs fans. I'm a big Dallas Cowboys fan. I believe her mom is as well. And so we were even looking at the Kansas City Chiefs Dallas Cowboys game for Thanksgiving Day. But you'll find great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So the softball team is in action this weekend. Yeah. They've got a series beginner later on tonight. I believe it's at 7 o'clock against Washington on ESPN2. Washington is the 2 seed, I believe. Yeah, because Mississippi State's the 3. Texas Tech is obviously the 1 seed. And they're playing Brown, who's the 4 seed in that region. The winner will move on and play the winner of Tech and Brown on Saturday. So what's your kind of thoughts, early expectations?
I think this is going to be a very good game. I don't know exactly how it's going to shake out. It kind of depends how Mississippi State's pitching does, because we've kind of seen the Jekyll and Hyde of this pitching staff, where one game it'll be great, the next they give up 5 runs by the second inning and you're fighting to come back. So I think that's really what's going to decide it, is how the pitching staff does. Now, looking at the history of this matchup with Washington, 1-7 all time. So, but I mean, that's to be expected. Washington has for a long time been one of the better, if not best, programs in college softball. 2 teams haven't met since 2019. So really can't take anything away from that. But I think it's going to be a good game. I'm really looking forward to it. I love that when the regionals get started, I will watch most games. If it is on, I'm watching it.
Yeah, and I mentioned this last week. I believe they are like 5-8 in their last 13 games, Washington. So they're kind of stumbling into postseason play, and you kind of hope those struggles continue and they don't return to the team that was really off to a red-hot start and playing really good softball. And so, again, I said it earlier this week, and I still truly believe it. I believe this is a regional you can win.
Yes.
It obviously is going to start with this big game right off the bat against Washington. You got to win that one. And then after that, we'll see what ends up happening. But you can put yourself in a position to win. Just like you said, Chaffin has to play well. Raelin Chaffin has to pitch well, because Kennedy for Texas Tech, if you do have to play Texas Tech, is waiting, and you're going to have to be able to go toe-to-toe with her. And Tech's also got a pretty good offense. That's the one thing I will say about Tech compared to when she was at Stanford. Stanford had no offense, and she was taking those teams to the World Series because of how good she was. They were winning games 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, stuff like that. Now they have an offense that can kind of pick her up some. But, yeah, I mean, Chaffin's got to be on her A game. And then we'll see, if they ended up pitching someone else. I don't know if they'll end up pitching, for a full game or not. We'll have to wait and see. But, no, Chaffin has to be on her A game. And then, like I said, hopefully you run into the Washington team that's been really struggling lately.
Yeah, that's what you have to hope for. And you hope maybe Brown surprises us all and really works.
Yeah.
Kennedy, not like she gets, I don't think there's any world where Brown wins the game.
No.
Maybe they just foul off a lot of pitches and make her throw so many pitches that she's just not an option for game 2. But I don't think that's really in the cards, and you're going to have to beat the best pitcher in college softball.
Yeah.
And, I mean, look
I know
at
where
that.
you're going.
They actually she pitched against Mississippi State on February 7th, and 8 innings, 12 strikeouts. So that's not great. Did give up 3 runs, 2 of them earned. So you got on the board, but when you're getting struck out 3 times or 12 times over that amount, that you're not putting a lot of balls in play.
Yeah, for sure. And then you hope Delainey Everett can also come out and pitch a really good game. That they played Tech to start the season, like you mentioned, went 8 innings to start the season. The 3-1 game. So it was a game that was tied at 1 going on, and so it was a great pitching duel, and that's kind of what the kind of game you have to have, and then hope that your offense plays better. You won 3-1. Sorry, I said it was tied and then you lost, but yes, you won 3-1. But you hope that the offense is a little better earlier, and so you don't have those struggles where you're in the extra innings with Tech, because you get in the extra innings with Tech and Tech's at home. Tech is probably going to ride that momentum and beat you. Whereas that game was not played at Texas Tech. It wasn't played in Lubbock. So it was actually played in Florida. So it was actually a neutral site game for both teams. But you hope that you can have the kind of success that you had in that 8th inning. And maybe they figured her out. I don't know. No one else has been able to.
So. We're sitting here talking about how they don't have a chance, and they're 1-for-1 against her. They got the 1 win.
Yeah. And we keep talking about Tech, and we have to get through Washington first. I mean, that's obviously what you have to do. But Washington's they're struggling. They're struggling.
And it's hard to talk about the team that's in front of you when like the boss battle is waiting right after it. But you do have to get through it. And Washington is a very good team, even if they have been struggling. So hopefully the pitching staff clicks a lot better than it did in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say, because we've had bad luck with this in every tournament that we've been in. Just get one. I'm not saying it this time around. I'm not going to do it. I mean, we keep saying, you just get that one and we'll be good. No, I'm not saying it this time around. We keep jinxing them, and it's not
doing it now.
Yeah. Then Chaffin obviously has to pitch well. Delainey Everett, another one that, again, I don't know if she'll start any of the games, but I bet she has some kind of role. What you would like, ideally, is you get up on Washington early. Everett can come in and finish the game off. Now Chaffin is fully rested for that Tech game. That would be the most ideal scenario. But I mean, Chaffin, again, has kind of struggled towards the end. And then Delainey Everett's actually pitched really well, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, would you just consider starting Everett and saving Chaffin for the matchup, hoping that she has it, but you have Chaffin ready to where, like, if Everett gets off rocky, then you bring her in. But I don't know.
I think the perfect world is you start Chaffin, and in the 3rd inning, if you've got at least a 2 or 3 run lead, even though those aren't safe in softball, then maybe you bring in Everett. And because in softball, you can bring the starter back in. Like, it's not like baseball. So then maybe you bring Chaffin back in if it gets dicey, but at that point, hopefully it's not dicey and you've wrapped it up. And Everett's pitched so well lately, you would think she can finish it off. So that might be the approach I take. But, it's the regionals. You can't risk. And you can't just risk a loss because you're trying to think in the future. You got to just think about that one game. So we'll see what happens. But all right, coming up next, we got our next up in Starkville. What are we looking for the most? We'll talk about it.
The days are getting longer, the weather's warming up, and people are spending more time outside, which means it's the perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're working with a big backyard or a small balcony, Wayfair has everything you need to make it feel more like you. Wayfair's massive selection of outdoor essentials makes it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining tables and outdoor decor, They've got it all at prices that fit your budget. And that's what I'm dealing with right now. I'm going from a small balcony to an actual backyard. I'm looking to get more furniture to fill that up because I love to grill. So I need a place for people to sit to eat after we get that grilling done. And grab a new patio dining set, and some string lights from Wayfair to help extend your outdoor space. And I love the mix of styles they offer. Wayfair makes it super easy to find pieces that match your vibe without spending a fortune. The delivery is free and hassle-free, even for the big stuff. Whether you're entertaining guests or just relaxing solo, shop Wayfair to help you unwind. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online this summer. Get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
All right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Landon, what are you looking forward to the most?
I think it's softball regionals. I mean, we've talked about them a lot, but I love postseasons of various, and the softball regional and baseball regional. They're one of my favorite setups because they're just going. It's so quick.
Yeah,
there's always games on. You get to see matchups you don't normally see, and then you'll get the rematch like 2 days later if some things get wonky. So I always love it. I annoy everyone in my life by just watching softball like 24/7 for a weekend. Even my mom, who loves softball, will be like, can we watch something else?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love softball too. And especially when the regionals come, it's one of my favorite tournaments all the way through. The regionals, super regionals are always really fun. Again, you get great matchups that you normally wouldn't get. But there's not much going on. It's either softball or baseball, but I'm going to go a little more specific. Okay. The thing that I'm looking forward to the most is, and I talked about earlier, Evan. How does he pitch in his, after having this great performance? Again, National Pitcher of the Week. How does he respond this week against a Missouri team who really isn't that good? Yeah. How does he respond? Can he solidify himself? Because even when he was being pitched as a reliever, he was doing well, which is why they eventually made him a starter. What 2 games? I think he started maybe 2 or 3 games. Can't remember exactly, but I want to see if he can solidify himself as the number 2 guy to Pico, because then I would have a lot more confidence of this team reaching its full potential heading into the postseason, not just the SEC tournament, really more of the regional play.
Yeah, and if he follows us up with another 15 strikeout game, I'm going to quit referring to it as he is a Pedro Martinez type game. It's going to be an Evan game.
Yeah. And maybe he's your ace now.
Right. Hey, there's nothing wrong with having 2 aces.
Right. Right. Yeah, so that would be me. I just want to see how he responds. Now, with that being said, I would have also picked softball regionals if Landon didn't pick it because I, again, love softball. I can't wait to watch that. First off, the game against Washington, and then hopefully – that's a win, and they're 5-9 in their last 14, Washington, and you got the great series against Texas Tech and Kennedy. If you don't win that one, obviously you have to go through the losers bracket and get there, and we'll see what happens on that way.
I will say if you lose, I mean, obviously you don't want to lose the game, but if you end up on that side, you can probably take out Brown, and you'll have yourself another shot, but you don't want to take the long way. You want it to be the short route.
Well, and you don't want to then have to beat Tech twice, because that's most likely what would happen at the end. So you'd rather be able to play them once, hopefully knock them off, and then get them in the championship series where they have to beat you twice. Now, that would really put a lot of pressure on Kennedy because that would be pitching her. A lot of times they do it back-to-back games. So, I mean, she would be pitching back-to-back, and that's not – even for softball, where it's obviously way easier than baseball, it's not easy to do that.
No, and you rarely see that. And if you do, it's the starter from the first game comes in relief, like in the 3rd inning or something. Like they give her a little bit of a longer break to try to get some rest and then get loosened back up instead of throwing them right back out there to start the game.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Jaron. Check out my work over on Athlon Sports, a lot of college football, some NBA if you're into that as well. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We post daily videos Monday through Friday. Also, we post a question every day on these YouTube videos. Respond to those. We love to hear your feedback. We love interacting with you guys. We also post a poll. That's also on YouTube. It's a totally different question. We love your feedback on that as well. And let us know kind of, I don't know if we're going to go with this question just yet, but if we don't, let us know what you're looking forward to the most. I'm kind of interested to see what you guys are looking forward to the most. But until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.